Y Jennifer también se le hace, you also thought it was strange.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very strange. So I don't know if we're dealing with a very, very tired USCIS
Yeah.
officer
No,
or
okay, y tiene
if
razón.
she had received bad information for somebody. You know, there was a false match. Maybe the investigation was outsourced. Who knows what happened? But the important thing is that the student was able to maintain her composure, no crying. She was able to say in English that this information is not correct, and she was able to speak for herself better than a lawyer could or a translator could.
I love it.
Yeah. Remember, when you go, you're the expert of your life, okay? So who can speak better for yourself than yourself? And as English teachers, all we can do is help you learn the English and the vocabulary so you can basically speak for
And she
yourself.
said she was happy that she had come to class. In fact, she recounted that, lots of people say, oh, you don't need to go to class,
Yeah, I think so.
study. And she said, no, it has really, really helpful because the tips had been helpful. That, I had said, I always say, because I had a student in my very beginning, in my earliest years when I was teaching, that he thought, he had a fight with the officer. And the only person who's going to lose is the student. You're never going to win.
Yes, absolutely.
You have a vested interest. And so I always tell my students, and she recounted exactly what I say. Whatever the officer is doing, you're going to smile. And you're
but you have to correct the information.
Like you said, it's keeping your composure. Yes.
Yeah.
Because she had several things. I mean, imagine that they're telling her that she used a green card and she crossed over. She's never been to Mexico. She's a person who hasn't, but they'd already constructed this life for her and with her name. And it's like, well, there aren't any pictures and there couldn't be any fingerprints, but it's like you said, she didn't cry. She just, it had to have shaken her because, what would any of us think if they come to you and say, you did this, and you're going, and they're repeating.
I know the truth about my life. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I always tell my students, one of the things is when immigration repeats the question, they need to think that immigration clearly has something. And in this case, they had something, but it was totally false, right? And what do you do? Anyway, it was just, and imagine that all of this, the whole sum of her interview was 15 minutes. That's how fast, boom, 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 that they could talk about this.
And there's so many people waiting outside in those waiting rooms.
Oh, no, and it's just like you said, the officer commented to my student that she was really tired, but, and imagine it's 3:30 in the afternoon and there are 31 people. She said to my student, there are 31 people waiting in the waiting room. So
plus the officers still has to do their own paperwork and investigation.
Exactly. So. Well, and she had to check on this case, you know, she had to check with the supervisor, which is typical. I reassured my student. I said, well, that's typical, you know, that they're going to send it to the supervisor is going to check. And then the next thing you'll get is going to be the invitation for the ceremony. That this is, to me, has happened before. I wasn't worried. It's just that they were being so certain that this had happened. And it's like, I, as a teacher, would know that this would have, if they had this in her record, that they would have brought it up in 2015 when she was getting her green card, because that's and then they faced all those things that might have happened before you got the green card, and then immigration makes a decision. Are we going to give this person a green card, or are we going to not, you know? But clearly this was new information, because if they had it, they would have said, as I said, they would have presented it to her in 2015. So it's just, you know.
And the names are so close too. But
and it's not that common of a name. So number one, but even if it was the same name, it doesn't mean that you're you. My name is Patricia Hernandez. How many millions of Patricia Hernandez?
There's only one Patricia Hernandez, okay, for us. So thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share?
I really like your assessment though, Jennifer. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things going on there. And the most important is to keep your composure. That's the thing.
Yeah. And pray for the USCIS officers. I mean, really, they need your support if you fill out your paperwork or you prepare, it makes their job easier, okay? But also pray for help because they're under a lot of stress. And even consider a career at USCIS. It's possible. It really is possible. So anyway.
No, it was correct when you said that they may be, you just don't know what's happening in their life. And your job is just to maintain your calm. That whatever they throw at you, you need to be calm, and you need to, like when the guard said, "Oh, go to the other room," and she's saying, "Well, do I stay here or do I go there or where do I do?"
I have a question for you.
He was offended by the question, and she just kept her calm. It was just kind of a really brusque way of talking to her. Go ahead.
When you get nervous, how do you calm down? I'll tell you how I calm down, but how do you calm down?
Oh, I try and take a few breaths.
Okay.
Deep breaths.
Yeah. I recently got very angry at a clerk recently, and I looked at the clerk and I tried to realize that we had something in common. He is wearing a mask with stars on it, and I'm wearing socks with stars on it. So if you can take a breath and see, what do I have in common with this person? We're both here for citizenship. What do I have here with this person? Hey, they have pictures on their desk of their kids. I have 3 kids too. Yeah. Those kind of things will help you during the interview. Yeah, to maintain.
Another comment that you made was, a lot of most of our interviews just go off without a hitch. They're just nice and smooth. But you always have to be prepared for one that's not so smooth. And that and that's that was an important point, that, we prepare our students. This is what you can expect. But sometimes you get a surprise when things don't go exactly as you think they're going to go. And your job is to keep your calm and just, do the best that you can. It reminds me of a student that I had, maybe 15 years ago. And she and her husband together went to the interview, and her husband didn't speak very much English. He went through, and then they called the wife. And the very first thing that the officer said to the wife is, "Why do you want to become a citizen? Go back to your country." And she was like, "Oh my God, what a way to begin."
I am shocked. I'm shocked. That's so unprofessional.
But my student kept her calm. She said, "No, I need to be a citizen because my husband is becoming a citizen, and I need to be here with my husband." And the officer just totally went off after. There wasn't anything else. But that's a really scary way to begin. And that was the way it began for her. Luckily, she was the one who spoke all of the English. Her husband didn't speak very much, but she was a really good English speaker. But she had to be fast on her feet to say, "Well, my husband is going to be a citizen here, and I need to be with him," Yeah. And the officer didn't, you just don't know what was it.
All those life skills come with you to citizenship, your citizenship interview. It's almost like a snapshot. It's almost like 15 minutes of your entire life. Yeah. You get to relive it. So,
and it's so important to just be ready. That yes, we hope for an interview that goes really smooth. And if it doesn't, just be sure that, as long as you're telling the truth, and you're looking the officer in the eye, you have nothing to hide, that it will be fine. I feel sure that she will be fine. And I said, you can just wait. You can just expect the invitation for the ceremony in the mail. I don't expect that it will go, because there's nothing to hide. There's nothing there. They decided just because she has the same name as this person who had the false green card. Hello. That's that's not enough proof. That would never stand up in a court of law.
And I think also it's proven that USCIS does correct their mistakes. For instance, recently, the 2008 versus the 2020 questions. They realized that the questions were too difficult. They walked it back. They realized the whole thing about public charge was too much. They walked it back. It's not that the government is being flaky. It's basically that they get comments, they review it, and they really take in consideration the comments of the people. So constructive criticism does work. when you
Well,
give
and
good
everybody
feedback.
makes mistakes. And when you make a mistake, what do? You walk it back, you correct it. They're just like everybody else, right? So I
Yeah.
agree with you. That's a really good point. That
Yeah.
we see that they're able to walk things back.
Yeah.
That when they see that they've made a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing.
It was a pleasure talking to you. And
What
it was just an interesting, hopefully I'm talking to students out there. Hopefully your interview is not like that, but be prepared, just, that not all of them are going to be smooth like that, and that, you'll get through it. In fact, that was her comment. She said, at the beginning, I wasn't sure whether I was going to, be passed or pass my interview. And, when she was talking to me, all of us felt that, she had done, there was nothing to hide there, whatever they thought, and so they can look whatever they want, but there's nothing to find there. But, and so at the end, she was, quite sure, and I was quite sure that she'll be approved for citizenship, but she just said it was a rocky beginning. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Nice to see
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thanks for talking.
Happy February, on to March, a Women's History Month.
Amen. Yeah.
Okay,
Very
bye-bye.
good. All right, bye-bye.